How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to New Mexico State Men's Basketball News. I'm Marshall, and I'm bringing you guys the first game preview I've done in a while. Past couple weeks have been very busy with finals, but the first semester is now done. I believe we got all A's, so really excited about that. Really looking forward to my last semester, graduating in May. Looking forward to all that. But today's focus is this video. Really, happy that I can bring it to you guys today. Gonna break down the Tulsa game that is tomorrow. I believe there's a link to watch it on YouTube. If you go to the official New Mexico State Men's Basketball Instagram, Twitter page, there should be a link for that. So it'll be really good to watch. But we have our hands full. This is probably the toughest team we played all year. It's gonna be really hard to get a win, but it's still possible. Anything's possible in basketball. So let's break down how the Aggies can get the win tomorrow to improve to 7-2 and snap a 2-game, losing streak, get their first win since, before Thanksgiving. I think the biggest key to victory, or one of the biggest key to victories, will be our post play, our post presence. I feel like we need a big game out of Juice. I know he's not, technically a 5, but sometimes he can play the 5 here and there if Sear or Augustine are in foul trouble, because that happens a lot with bigs, especially with the Aggies past couple years. It's kind of been, it's just happened more often than not. So it'd be nice for Juice to have a big game. He played well against Abilene Christian. Definitely had a big bounce back game from that, poor performance against, South Alabama. I feel like he's due for a big performance. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just dominates, gets a double-double, does his thing, and helps the Aggies, get a big win, or at least get really close to a big win. I feel like Sear and Augustine need to play very well also. If Augustine can play like he did against New Mexico Highlands, and if, Sear can play like he did against Adams State, definitely a good chance we'll get the win. Which, fun fact, New Mexico Highlands did actually beat Adams State 86-85. And Adams State looked really good, gave us a run for our money. New Mexico Highlands played pretty well against us as well, but we ended up having a little bit easier of a time. So it's kind of surprised to see Highlands get that win. I think they only have like 2 wins on the year. But this, again, go to show you anybody can beat anybody, and that's how it could be tomorrow. Tulsa's favored to win. It's a neutral site game in Texas. I believe we might have more fans there. Tulsa's off to a 9-1 start. And they've taken advantage of playing against, lower level D1 schools or just non-D1s. They've destroyed them. And they've been very competitive against some really good teams. I believe their only loss is to Kansas State, so a Power 4 program. Mind you, Kansas State isn't up to the greatest start in the world. I believe they're still at 500 or just above 500. But still, they lost 84-83 to a Power 4 opponent. So to lose like that to any Power 4 school, I don't care how good or bad they are, that's definitely impressive for that to be their only loss. So it's going to be really hard for us to get a win tomorrow. But it kind of reminds me of last year. The Aggies still got a win on the road in a very tough environment against UNM, who I believe only had 1 or 2 losses on the year as well. And we were coming off a 5-game losing streak. Right now, we're only on a 2-game losing streak, but we definitely don't want to get to 3. As we, our last game before we play against Sam Houston for conference. And then after that, we should have our last gimme win, if you want to call it that, against Southwest. And then it's just conference the rest of the way through. I believe FIU and Missouri State, who we play early in conference, should be winnable games, but you don't want to look too far ahead. It'd be very, very convenient to get this win. Losing that South Alabama game hurt, but we put a really good fight against a really good team. I believe Abilene Christian, they're also a really good team as well, but a team that I still think we're better than that we should be. Really hurts that we lost them 2 years in a row by 8 points. Wish we would have got a bounce back win from last year, but we beat them when it mattered the most, I guess, in the WAC tournaments and stuff. But just still, it'd be awesome to get a win tomorrow. I feel like a lot of my teams have been losing a lot of games recently, from pro teams to college teams. So it'd be really nice for the Aggies to get a get-back win tomorrow. I made a post about Jamel yesterday on my social media pages. Really need him to have another really big game. He hasn't had a 20-point outing since those first 2 games against Division II opponents, but he was really close to it against Abilene Christian. He had 19 points, but went 5 for 8 from the free throw line, which is very uncharacteristic from him. He's not the type of guy to miss free throws like that. He's usually like an 80 to 90% free throw shooter. So if we want to win, I believe he needs at least 20 points, and I think he needs to make all his free throws. Obviously, as a team, we need to not turn over the ball a lot. Our guards got to be really patient with the ball and not turn it over. Gabe Pickens, Elijah Elliott, Chris Terrell. Not sure who's going to start. Gabe Pickens was our primary starter at the 1, and then it was Chris Terrell last game. He didn't necessarily play bad, but I think Gabe played better off the bench. Elijah didn't do a whole lot last game, but played really well against South Alabama, so I wouldn't be surprised if Coach gives him a shot. We'll see who starts. Maybe he goes back to Gabe. Maybe he gives Chris a second shot. It was nice that the team was able to, they were able to come home, get some rest, get some practices back at the Pan Am. After being on the road for almost a whole week straight. Now they're heading back to Texas. So the traveling can be a little weird. But, Texas is a familiar place. Coach Huden's played at a lot of times. Same with Anthony on the team, who's been a good key starter for us. Again, we'll see how the starting lineup looks. Again, it's always bound to switch up a little bit. It's already switched up a few games here and there. And I feel like we'll get a full starting lineup that will, be consistent by the time conference starts. Tulsa is kind of similar to us, where they have a lot of balanced scoring. Their leading scorer is averaging just under 15. Our leading scorer, Jamel, is averaging 16.5. But we have no other guys that are averaging double figures. They have 3 guys averaging over 13. So they have a lot of guys that can score the ball. And against Abilene Christian, their 3 best players, or no, it was South Alabama. I think it might have been both teams. Like, their 3 best players all had really good games. If you want to win basketball games, you cannot allow that. Like, you can allow, obviously, it's bound that at least one of them is going to have a good game. more than likely to. But if all three of them have a good game, it's really hard to win those games unless everybody's on the same page for us. So we'll really see how it goes. I would love to see Anthony play really well. Again, he hasn't played bad recently. He just hasn't played as good as he did in those first few games, especially against UNM. He was awesome. He's played very well still, has done really good things on the defensive end. Would just love to see him have a big game. Again, Gabe Pickens played pretty well. He's not the type of guy to go out there and, score a whole lot of points, but he'll facilitate the offense and do a lot of great things. He had a really good game against UC Irvine, had 9 points. I believe Jacoby had 10 in that game as well. If both those returners can, play big games like that as well, our chances of winning skyrocket. We're just going to need to play our best game of the season. That's what it is. I feel like we've still improved. At first, we were improving from game to game. I wouldn't say that was the case against Abilene Christian, so we definitely need to see some improvement from that. I feel like this is a game where the Aggies could possibly get down early, but they got to make sure they don't get in their head and just make a comeback and get the win. If they do build up a lead, obviously maintain. That's the biggest thing, because no lead is safe, especially against a really good Tulsa team. They're a team that, if they get down early or just get down at any point in the game, they can definitely lock in and go from there. But we've seen the Aggies teams in the past, destroy really good teams. I mean, look at last year, Louisiana Tech. I know they didn't have the year they wanted, but they were still the preseason favorite to win Conference USA. We beat them by 30 at home in the second game of conference, and then beat them on the road by double digits, by 12. We should have won by a little more, but a win's a win at the end of the day. And I'll take a win any way we can get it, especially if it's tomorrow. Another big thing we struggled with is playing defense without fouling. I think we're a really good defensive team. We're really aggressive, and sometimes the refs, maybe make some questionable calls, but there definitely are times we need to do better with not fouling. There's been times I think the ref made a bad call, and I'll see Coach Hooney getting mad at the players instead. So, obviously, I'm pretty sure Coach Hooney knows what he's doing. Then there's also times we get really mad at the ref too, or there's times when the refs get in front of one of our players, like Elijah Elliott, makes him turn over the ball, then Abilene Christian gets the ball and because they and one, and kind of kills our momentum. But officiating is always going to be bad, usually for both sides. It is what it is at the end of the day. We just got to go out there and play our game and can't let any refs beat us. We really got to be smart with the ball. Just don't turn it over. I know it sounds simple enough, but that's the biggest thing. It's obviously, turnovers are going to happen here and there, but if the Aggies defense can force Tulsa to do more, then they're in a good position. Another thing I've noticed too is it'll be early in the game, and the Aggies will maybe Gabe will try to throw a lob to Juice or something early in the game. It just doesn't come off as crisp, and it's still a close game, neck and neck. If it's cool, you can pull it off, but only do that, I feel like, if you're up by a lot of points, you almost have a guaranteed win. There's times too where it's more design. Gabe's able to get a screen and get a nice open, crisp look to Juice for the dunk. That's nice. But any other way, it's kind of risky sometimes. Maybe we'll start off the second half with a big, dunk by Sear, or just a finish in the paint for Sear. We've done that 3 out of the 8 games so far, almost half the games. So it'll be nice to see if the Aggies can just keep that all up and put themselves in the best position possible to get a big win tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm sure you guys are too. It's going to be hard to get the win. But I feel like the Aggies and Blazers and all my favorite teams, they always seem to play better against really good teams, and when they're not expected to win, than when they are expected to win. I mean, you look at those first 2 games against Division II schools, they still won, but maybe a little closer than people wanted. Going to that UNM game, people weren't, giving us too high hopes, and they went out there and got a big win against a really good, UNM team that's a rival. Is a big win. UC Irvine was another game that's going to be tough to get, but they got it done. Georgia State's a team that they should have beat, got to a slow start, but came back and still got it done. It would just be nice to see the Aggies play a full game of basketball, start to finish, hard and well, and strong, and if they can build up a double-digit point lead, it'd be nice if they can just keep it and go from there. It's definitely possible, but again, Tulsa's a really good team. It's gonna be really hard to do that against. Even if they're competitive and lose this game, it'll show a lot of grit from the team. If they can get this win, that shows how good this team can be. And again, just really looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys are too. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say. Leave in the comments below what your score prediction is. I'm going to be confident and say we're going to win 84-83, just like what Tulsa lost to Kansas State. I'm going to say it's going to be a close game, a high scoring game. We'll see how it all goes. I'm always an Aggie, so I'm going to be confident enough to get the win no matter who we're playing. And it'll be nice. Again, if they can compete hard and show good things and good signs, then I think the rest of the season, I think this Tulsa team is really, really good. I think it's better than any team in Conference USA. And that's no shade to Kennesaw State or Liberty. They're really good teams as well. We're predicted to finish 3rd below those guys, and I feel like it could definitely go that way. But Tulsa is just a different breed. This is a team that Tulsa, we played against them 2 years ago. In Coach Hooney's first year, we were up by 16 at one point. Blew it, lost it on the road. Now it's at a neutral site, so we're kind of both playing on the road in a way. So if that happens again, where we build up that big of a lead, I really like our chances of winning the game. Just got to get it done. Can't wait for it. Again, you can watch the game. There's that link on the YouTube. Can't remember it exactly on the top of my head. But you should be able to go find it on the official pages on Instagram and Twitter. So be on the lookout for that. The game is at 1 p.m. So do not forget that. The game is tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, and I'll make a recap video like I usually do. Very happy that I was able to give you guys this preview video. I didn't have a whole lot going on. I'm not going back home until Tuesday, so I might be able to get the game analysis video out tomorrow, honestly, or maybe I'll just still wait till the next day or the day after. But you'll get that in the next couple of days for sure. enough rambling on for me. Really hope you guys have a great night and have a fun time watching the Aggies. Go Aggies, let's get a win tomorrow, and I'm out.